So this is the region, and we're talking about here. Very large region, considering what we're talking about here. I asked the LLM to give us the three most popular images of the Yeti, or the abominable snowman. And let's take a look at what we have. Now, I didn't ask it for images that may indicate evidence of the creature. I just want to know what the rest of the world seems to think the Yeti looks like. Okay, so here is something from an digital art store. Yeah, kind of feel like that's pretty typical of what we think. And then the other one here, looking a little bit more like Bigfoot. Oh, okay, another snap taken during Warden Shipton's expedition shows a longer set of Yeti tracks in the snow. So this is, in fact, an historical account of a potential Yeti sighting from 1921. British Mount Everest reconnaissance expedition set out from India to find a route to and hopefully up the world's highest mountain. But on their return, the team had more to report than the success of their récit. Interviewed by journalist Henry Newman, they spoke of coming across large footprints in the snow. Expedition leader Charles Howard Bury concluded that they had been made by the looping of a wolf. Local guides and porters, however, said they belonged to the legendary Mitokangmi, roughly translated to man, bear, snowman. Okay, so this is an actual account of a sighting Mount Everest in India. And, Mount Everest is a place where the Yeti has been reported many, many times. Of course, a number of factors would play into those sightings, considering the fact that you're talking about high altitude and what that can do to respiration, and thereby what that can do to one's ability to think clearly. And it's a Tibetan name with global capturing imaginations, inspiring the century and counting of cryptozoological studies. Yeah, this we know. Still, when it comes to evidence of the Yeti's existence, the closest that anyone's got has been footprints, although not ones spotted by Howard Bury and his team during another British expedition. All right, so here we go. I think this is not necessarily a bit of a dead end in terms of what the Yeti looks like, but it's not uncommon. Let's try another one here. Now, what I'm asking it for here, let's make it specific to geography and go in Tibet. I want to ask it to provide a link to a credible research study on the Yeti in Tibet. Okay, so let's see what we get here. Okay, so evolutionary history of enigmatic bears in the Tibetan Plateau Himalayan region and the identity of the Yeti. This peer-reviewed research analyzed mitochondrial DNA, hair, bone, skin, and feces collected in the Himalayas and the Tibetan Plateau that were allegedly from Yeti specimens. The genetic evidence shows that the samples were from known bear species, the Himalayan brown bear, Tibetan brown bear, and the Asiatic black bear, shedding scientific light on the biological origins of the... If you want the full... Well, let's see here if it comes up, and we'll ask it to give us the full PDF. All right, here we go. So this was published in 2017. Does that mean this is when it was published, but is this when the study was conducted? All right, so what are we talking about here? Although anecdotally associated with local bears, the exact identity of hominid-like creatures important to folklore and mythology in the Tibetan Plateau Himalayan region is still surrounded by mystery. So I don't think this is a big surprise, it looks like it's going to be inconclusive. Okay, so this is the region, and we're talking about here. Very large region considering what we're talking about here. It has been reported that the brown bear populations in the Tibetan Plateau Himalayan region have declined by more than half in the past century because of habitat loss, fragmentation, poaching, and increased hunting. Okay. The Tibetan Plateau, a Himalayan region is also known for the legend of the purported hominid-like creatures referred to as the Yeti, Kemo, Meti, Baramando, and among other regional monikers. For simplicity, they are referred to, also the abominable snowman. Despite decades of research and anecdotal association with bears and other mammals, the species identity of the mysterious Yeti is still debated, given the lack of conclusive evidence. Well, there you go. I don't know. I mean, I like reading these studies. I like understanding the amount of research that goes into it. But I think so often the reason these legends persist is right here, given the lack of conclusive evidence. Take, for example, the Loch Ness Monster. It remains highly unlikely, but it cannot be proven otherwise. Therefore, if it cannot be proven otherwise, a possibility still must be admitted to. They did 24 samples, including hair, tissue, bone, and feces, DNA extraction. So this is pretty comprehensive study here. Even mitochondrial genome targeting, and they still could not conclusively determine that there wasn't another species out there roaming in the Himalayas. Okay, I'll provide a link to this in the show notes, but I still think there's more to talk about here with the Yeti. I want to see if there's anything out there that people visually have found that indicate, and I'm going to do that next. Until then, don't go wandering off in the forest alone.